MC Quan Thien, delighted to accompany you in today. Recently, strong earthquakes have been occurring continuously worldwide, shaking all of humanity. The feeling of fear and insecurity in people's hearts as they witness the ground constantly shaking, as if sending a warning message from deep within the earth. From Asia to Europe, from the Pacific Ring of Fire to the Atlantic, the abnormal activities of the Earth's crust have sparked countless theories. Some fear that this could be a sign of an even greater disaster gradually forming. Others turn to mysterious prophecies, hoping to find answers from the occult. Especially when astrologers and fortune tellers also warn that Taiwan could be the next hotspot. The entire Chinese community immediately holds its breath. In the context where rational science and the occult intersect, the question arises: what is happening to the Earth in this year 2025? This video will take you on a journey to explore the unique seismic phenomena occurring globally, analyzing the scientific principles behind them while combining historical events and prophetic legends, to reveal a story that is both thrilling and thought-provoking. Hold on tight because our exciting journey is about to begin. Since late March this year, the Earth seems to have entered a phase of intense seismic activity. In just over 10 short days, multiple earthquakes of magnitude 6 or higher have occurred, leaving both the scientific community and the public in shock. As mentioned in the previous video, first was the strong earthquake on March 28th, near Myanmar's second largest city, Mandalay. That afternoon, the ground in the Wat Trang region of Myanmar shook violently due to a shallow earthquake of magnitude 7.7. With an epicenter depth of only about 10 km, this disaster caused severe damage, with over 1,700 fatalities across Myanmar and neighboring Thailand. Over 3,000 injured and hundreds missing. High-rise buildings in the capital Bangkok shook strongly. A skyscraper under construction collapsed like dominoes, creating scenes filled with dust and cries everywhere. Without a doubt, this was the first shock of 2025 that the Earth gave to humanity. However, the earthquake in Myanmar was just the beginning. Less than 48 hours later, on March 30th, a loud explosion echoed from the southern Pacific region. An earthquake of magnitude 7.0 occurred in the Tonga Islands. Large waves immediately surged around the area, but luckily, due to the epicenter being far from land, it did not cause serious damage. Almost simultaneously, the boundary of tectonic plates beneath the ocean floor in the central Atlantic was also restless. Also on March 28th, two earthquakes of magnitude 6.1 and 6.6 were recorded consecutively in the Pacific. Although there were no casualties as they were deep under the sea, the frequency and range of seismic activity in such a short time left scientists astonished. In fact, in less than 10 days, 10 earthquakes of magnitude 6 or higher occurred worldwide, including 2 exceeding magnitude 7. The frequency of the Earth's crust movements became so rapid that it made people wonder if our blue planet is entering a special period of seismic activity. Not only remote areas bore the brunt of these earthquakes, even the region around Taiwan felt the Earth's instability. Since late March, some moderate earthquakes have also occurred off the east coast of Taiwan and in the southern sea of Japan. Although they did not cause major damage, the aftershocks were enough to make people uneasy. On the other side of the hemisphere, Europe was not spared from the seismic wave. Greece's famous tourist island, Santorini, has continuously recorded small to medium earthquakes since late January. In just a few short weeks, over 1,000 tremors have been recorded in the area, with the largest reaching magnitude 5.2. The romantic island in the Aegean Sea, home to a volcano that has been dormant for hundreds of years, shook repeatedly and was forced to declare a state of emergency. Residents and tourists alike fear whether this volcano will awaken again. Although scientists affirm that this seismic event has no direct evidence linked to volcanic activity, they remain cautious and are closely monitoring all underground developments. Looking back at what has happened recently, it can be said that the tectonic plates on the Earth's surface are collectively sounding an alarm. From the Asian continent to the Pacific Ring, from distant seas to the volcanic island in Europe, reports of intense geological activity have been recorded in a short period. This scale of global seismic activity makes one inevitably wonder: is the Earth Dragon, the soul within the Earth according to legend, truly stirring?
It is truly rare that in just 2 weeks, the world has recorded 10 earthquakes of magnitude 6 or higher.
While globally, only about 6 to 8 such events occur on average per month.
That surprising abnormality has drawn special attention from the scientific community and the international community,
raising concerns that a major geological upheaval may be quietly forming.
As the Earth continues to shake, more and more people are turning to ancient prophecies
and mystical theories to seek answers.
In that context, precisely at this sensitive moment, a series of prophets and feng shui masters has simultaneously spoken up,
causing public opinion to stir. Previous predictions seem to be coming true one after another. And this time, the target they are aiming at is Taiwan. One of the most prominent warnings comes from this very territory, Taiwan's famous feng shui and fate master, Dao Fucheng.
As early as the end of last year, he made predictions related to the international situation.
After an astrology session in December 2024, he warned to be cautious because around March 2025, a major event would occur in the world.
Dao Fucheng also emphasized that it could be a disaster of a century-level scale.
The worst scenario would be a volcanic eruption or a large-scale earthquake,
not only due to the terrifying destructive power but also because of the potential for
like the 2022 Tonga volcanic eruption, which once altered the terrain. As predicted, since early March, a series of strong earthquakes have occurred worldwide.
From Myanmar, located in the Pacific Ring of Fire, to the South Pacific region.
This has left many amazed at the accuracy of Dao Fucheng's predictions. But what concerns the people of Taiwan the most is that he directly mentioned Taiwan in his prophecy, suggesting that this place, along with mainland China, will face significant political upheavals.
He warned of the possibility of changes in the high-level leadership ranks, causing power disruptions, while not ruling out the occurrence of serious incidents, such as widespread power outages,
large-scale traffic accidents, even shootings and natural disaster factors. Although the focus of his predictions leans towards political and social aspects, his accurate prediction of the global major earthquake makes many wonder whether the warning about Taiwan also hides something more profound. Not only in the mystical world,
prophecies about 2025 are also appearing everywhere and sending shivers down listeners' spines.
One of the most shocking predictions that I have repeatedly mentioned in previous videos comes from Japan. A prophetic dream by the artist Ryo Tatsuki. In the comic book, The Future that Tatsuki published in 1999, records a series of dreams that she believes reflect future disasters.
Many predictions in the book are said to have come true, especially her dreaming accurately about the East Japan earthquake
that occurred on March 11, 2011, an event marked in modern history. What is more frightening is that in that book, Tatsuki reveals another dream. That on the morning of July 5, 2025, a disaster even more terrifying than the 3/11 earthquake will occur.
In the dream, Tatsuki saw the western Pacific Ocean boiling, with bubbles rising incessantly.
Then from beneath the sea, 2 giant dragons rose and flew across the sky.
Immediately after, the ground shook violently and a terrible earthquake appeared, followed by a super tsunami up to 40 meters high, sweeping away the Japanese coast and the entire Asia-Pacific region.
After the disaster, she saw a new land emerging from the seabed, like a rescue ship,
connecting Japan with Taiwan, the Philippines, and Hong Kong.
This story has caused a shock not only in Japan but also spread to Taiwanese media, sparking lively public discussion. Many worry whether this summer will truly see a destructive earthquake and tsunami or not,
especially since Taiwan lies exactly in the area where the dream predicts new land will appear.
Some who believe in the apocalypse even think that
The dream in which the artist sees her own future
coinciding with the time of the disaster is a sign that she will perish in that very natural disaster,
further indicating an unimaginable love. However, those who follow the rational school remain cautious.
Geological experts believe the scenario in the dream is almost impossible in reality.
Unless there is an earthquake with intensity above 9, even close to 10 on the Richter scale. Such a rare phenomenon in human history can create floating landmasses connecting countries like that.
Nevertheless, topographical changes still cannot be as sudden and extreme as the prophecy. Therefore, Tatsuki's dream is often seen as a profound reminder of human arrogance.
That we must always maintain a humble attitude and awe before the unpredictable power of nature.
Besides prophetic dreams from the East, in the mystical legends of the West, 2025 is also considered a year full of upheaval. The famous blind Bulgarian prophet Baba Vanga is believed to have left predictions about this year, mentioning more serious conflicts, even global destruction disasters. The 16th century astrologer Nostradamus also had ambiguous poems that many interpret as implying Europe would fall into war and rampant epidemics around 2025, plunging the world into severe chaos and instability.
Gathering these prophecies that cross cultural boundaries, one gets the feeling of an apocalyptic picture gradually emerging,
making people this year particularly sensitive and prone to confusion. Notably, in many prophecies, Taiwan is repeatedly mentioned as a hotspot, a place that could become the center of the coming storm.
Besides fate masters Hao Pan, who emphasized that Taiwan needs to be vigilant about major events.
In the prophetic dream of artist Tatsuki, Taiwan's presence is also vaguely mentioned.
In folklore, many other mystical views related to this area are also circulated.
Some people, based on traditional Chinese feng shui theory, point out that
2025 is the year when the 5 yellow consecutive pearl star flies into the northeast direction.
Geographically, the northeast direction includes northeast China, Japan, and Taiwan, vast lands of East Asia. Therefore, they believe that
this year East Asia will face many consecutive natural and man-made disasters.
Although this view lacks solid scientific basis, when earthquakes keep occurring,
people can hardly avoid associating them with those warnings.
Additionally, a young astrology prodigy from India,
who gained fame for correctly predicting the COVID-19 pandemic, also issued a warning that
from late 2024 to early 2025, the world would enter a period of instability.
He called on humanity to be especially vigilant against extreme natural disasters, such as major earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or sudden climate changes.
After the severe earthquake in Myanmar, many people recalled his prophecy and realized that once again, astrological predictions seemed to be coming true.
Synthesizing from all these different prophetic sources and mystical theories,
a clear common point can be observed: most recent predictions
simultaneously target the Asia-Pacific region, particularly the area where Taiwan is located.
Although these predictions differ in presentation, from astrology, dreams to feng shui and I Ching,
the strange thing is that all seem to coincide with reality in terms of time and space. First, fate masters warned about disasters occurring in March, which coincided with a major earthquake in Myanmar.
Then, prophecies continued to emphasize upcoming upheavals in Taiwan. This makes conspiracy theorists excited, as if everything has been arranged by fate. But will Taiwan really face major disasters in the near future?
To answer this question, we need to return to scientific and historical perspectives
to better understand Taiwan's
specific geological conditions and earthquake risks here. Setting aside the thought of prophecies, let's start by understanding the basic scientific principles of earthquakes.
In fact, earthquakes result from the sudden release of energy in the Earth's crust.
The Earth's surface is composed of tectonic plates of various sizes, like giant pieces floating on a soft magma layer beneath, constantly moving and colliding at very slow speeds. In areas adjacent to tectonic plates, where subduction, spreading, or lateral sloping occurs, geological stress accumulates gradually over time. Once the pressure exceeds the rock's yield strength, faults suddenly slip past each other, releasing a large amount of energy in the form of seismic waves, causing surface vibrations known as earthquakes. This phenomenon can be likened to a tree branch bent beyond its limit, suddenly, or a tightly compressed spring held for a long time, unexpectedly bursting out. Therefore, most strong earthquakes occur at tectonic plate boundaries or along geological faults. The Pacific Ring of Fire, where many tectonic plate boundaries converge, is particularly prone to earthquakes and volcanoes.
Hence, it is famously called the Ring of Fire. From the Japanese archipelago, Taiwan, the Philippines, Indonesia to Chile, Mexico, and the US West Coast, all fall within this region. Besides earthquakes, this area also witnesses numerous volcanic activities, increasing its danger. In contrast, regions deep within plates, far from boundaries, such as the Mid-Atlantic Ridge or central areas of Brazil, Africa, and Vietnam, rarely experience strong earthquakes. Even if seismic events occur, they are often not noticeably felt due to being far from populated areas. From this past information, one can see how wise our ancestors were in choosing an S-shaped land, almost unaffected by major seismic shocks. Taiwan, however, is a special case, as it lies directly at the intersection of the Philippine Sea Plate and the Eurasian Plate. This is a complex geological area where the two plates collide directly and continuously accumulate geological energy over time. Thus, Taiwan is always in a high-risk zone for strong earthquakes and submarine volcanoes, as both science and history have repeatedly proven. More specifically, eastern Taiwan lies right in the sea area adjacent to the two major tectonic plates, the Philippine Sea Plate and the Eurasian. Each year, the Philippine Plate continues to move northwest at about 8 to 9 centimeters per year, constantly pressing against the Eurasian Plate. This prolonged collision has formed the central mountain range of Taiwan and made the island one of the most seismically active regions in the world. Additionally, off the eastern coast of Taiwan, there is a subduction zone where the Philippine Sea Plate is gradually sliding beneath the Eurasian Plate along a Ryukyu Trench. Meanwhile, in southern Taiwan, the two plates continue to collide and compress from deeper underground, creating complex movements. This dual interaction makes the geological crust around Taiwan particularly fragile, with numerous large and small faults densely distributed. As a result, the frequency and intensity of earthquakes in Taiwan are high. The entire island has confirmed the existence of dozens of active seismic faults. Among them, there are many points with the potential to cause large-scale disasters. A prime example is the Chalumbu Fault, responsible for the devastating 921 earthquake in 1999. This fault originally existed silently, but once it ruptured, it tore through the ground for tens of kilometers, releasing energy equivalent to dozens of atomic bombs. Besides, areas like Hualien, the Beinan Fault in Taidong, and deep faults around the Taipei Basin are also hotspots closely monitored by geologists. In terms of geological structure, every few decades, Taiwan could accumulate enough energy to trigger a strong earthquake. Therefore, although residents are accustomed to minor tremors in daily life, this does not mean they can be complacent about the risk of major quakes. On the contrary, these small earthquakes are signs that internal pressures in the Earth's crust are continuously building and adjusting. A reminder that a destructive quake could occur at any time when conditions are ripe. Besides tectonic structure, the depth of the epicenter is also a key factor determining an earthquake's destructiveness. Shallow earthquakes, with epicenters near the surface, often cause much stronger shaking. For example, a recent earthquake in Myanmar had an epicenter only 10 kilometers deep, so its destructive power was immense. In Taiwan, most strong earthquakes are also shallow, such as the 921 quake with an epicenter depth of about 8 kilometers. Thus, causing severe damage on the surface. In contrast, deeper earthquakes, despite their energy, have seismic waves that travel long distances. So by the time they reach the surface, their strength is significantly reduced. For instance, in 2022, a series of earthquakes with depths exceeding 100 kilometers were recorded off eastern Taiwan. Although areas like Taipei felt noticeable shaking, no damage occurred. This is why epicenter depth is so important. In summary, Taiwan is a place that fully embodies the characteristics of an extremely high earthquake risk area. Located at the collision point of tectonic plates, it has a dense network of geological faults and frequently experiences strong From a scientific perspective, the occurrence of a magnitude 7 or higher earthquake in Taiwan is not a matter of if, but when. Given this unavoidable reality, people must look to the past to learn and draw lessons from disasters on the island.
History often serves as a mirror for the future. Looking back over the past 100 years, Taiwan has endured several major earthquakes whose memories remain deeply etched in people.
Early in the morning on September 21st, at 1:47 a.m., central Taiwan suddenly experienced violent shaking.
In just over a minute, the island underwent one of the most powerful seismic events. The earthquake occurred in Nantou County and Shushan Township, reaching a magnitude of 7.3 on the Richter scale, a number sufficient to imagine its devastating. The underground fault on the Chalumpu Fault ruptured, creating an 80 kilometers long large water strip rising to the surface, with a maximum displacement of. Roads and villages were torn apart and visibly displaced, creating images that vividly illustrate the height differences and destruction caused by nature. The 921 earthquake claimed the lives of over 2,400 people, injured nearly 10,000, and left 400,000 homeless.
As mountains and rivers was altered, with the stark images and ground fissures remaining indelible wounds in people.
Before that disaster, Taiwan had gone nearly 60 years without experiencing such a severe earthquake.
The last earthquake of similar magnitude occurred in 1935, when the Hsinchu-Taichung earthquake killed over 3,000 people, the highest death toll in Taiwan's earthquake history. Returning to the present, over 20 years have passed since the 1999 disaster, and during that time, Taiwan has not been quiet.
There have still been earthquakes of about magnitude 6, causing casualties and serious damage.
In 2016, an earthquake in Mainan, Kaohsiung caused a building in Tainan to collapse, claiming 115 lives. In 2018, an earthquake in Hualien caused several buildings to tilt and collapse, killing 17 people.
Most recently, in September 2022, an earthquake in Chicheng, Taiwan, although occurring in a remote area, still caused damage to many structures and resulted in casualties.
These lessons constantly remind us that although Taiwan is a small island, it harbors many potential threats from underground. More notably, the chain effect of earthquakes seems not limited to local space but can spread over time, reminiscent of the domino effect mentioned in ancient prophecies. Just looking back at 1999, a major earthquake in Turkey occurred just 1 month before the 921 earthquake in Taiwan, a coincidence that makes many people wonder. And earlier this year, a similar phenomenon recurred. The Himalayan region of Tibet and southern Taiwan both experienced strong earthquakes within 2 weeks. According to scientists,
the structure of tectonic plates acts like a balancing system. When one area releases strong energy through an earthquake, you can change the stress distribution in adjacent plates, thereby increasing the likelihood of earthquakes elsewhere. A seismology expert once gave an example that after the major earthquake in Turkey that year, shortly after, Taiwan suffered the 921 earthquake. The occurrence of major earthquakes almost simultaneously in two distant regions may not be entirely coincidental. Although science cannot yet accurately predict when earthquakes will occur, this phenomenon still reveals a noteworthy reality. When surrounding areas continuously experience earthquakes, we must be even more vigilant, because the next element of the fall could very well be us. From a historical perspective, after each major earthquake, Taiwan has witnessed strong transformations in disaster prevention awareness and building code reforms. After the 921 earthquake, Taiwan comprehensively reviewed seismic resistance standards in construction, accelerating the process of demolishing or reinforcing. Governments at all levels also improved emergency response systems and enhanced community education. However, over time, many people have begun to lower their guard, even believing that major disasters will not repeat. But geologists warn that some faults in Taiwan have now entered a phase of reaccumulating energy after more than 2 decades. And within the next 10 years, the probability of a major earthquake occurring is increasing. Especially faults near urban areas, such as the deep fault east of Taipei Basin, or seismic sources under the sea near Yilan, all have the potential to cause serious damage. The only thing humans can do is prepare early to minimize potential damage as much as possible. When we combine scientific predictions with mysterious prophecies, it's easy to notice a phenomenon that makes people deeply reflect. Reason and emotion meet at this moment, both pointing to anxiety about unknown future disasters. On one hand, seismology tells us that Taiwan is indeed located in a geologically dangerous zone. And recent unusual crustal activities globally could also increase the probability of strong earthquakes in this area. On the other hand, warnings from various mystical forms, from I Ching divination, prophetic dreams, to signs from astrology or feng shui,
also make the public uneasy about the near future.
However, it needs to be clarified that prophecies are not immutable truths, and science is not omnipotent either.
The value of predictions probably lies in sounding the alarm, helping us maintain vigilance,
rather than replacing rational judgment or practical preparation. Just as a cautious attitude of science helps us avoid unnecessary panic, the scientific community also acknowledges that so far, humans still cannot accurately predict the time and location of earthquakes. Therefore, the wisest approach is to maintain clarity while having comprehensive preparations for all worst-case scenarios. Regardless of whether prophecies come true or not, actions like reinforcing housing structures, preparing emergency evacuation, educating communities about disaster prevention skills are all practical actions that are never useless.
Instead of letting fear dominate, transform it into strength, into motivation to improve living environments and enhance ability to cope with adversity. For Taiwan,
the present is not a sign of doomsday, but a reminder that we cannot be complacent even while living in peace.
Ancient legends and modern scientific knowledge intersecting in 2025 might be just coincidence, or could carry profound meaning. Either way, they convey the same message: know how to cherish the present and maintain reverence for nature. The power of nature exceeds human understanding.
We cannot prevent earthquakes from happening, but we can choose our attitude to face them. As mysticism always emphasizes harmony between humans and the universe, we need to learn to live in harmony with this land, understand its temperament to prevent disasters. Just as the humble spirit of science encourages acceptance of knowledge limits and always being prepared for the worst.
When the next earthquake strikes, whether it matches some prophecy or not, the only things we can rely on are mutual support and preparations made beforehand. May the predictions be just false alarms, but we have learned the lesson. May disasters not occur, but we are ready to respond. Let scientific reason lead the way, and if necessary, moderately consult traditional sources of knowledge to firmly face an uncertain future. In 2025, the Great Earth is whispering. We need not fear that whisper, but must listen to the message within it. For what truly determines our destiny is not prophecies or chance, but how humanity confronts challenges and rises from darkness with wisdom and courage. Let us carry reverence and thorough preparation to welcome the unknown tomorrow. The earth may shake, but human hearts will stand firm. Disasters may be unavoidable, but in turmoil, we will rise stronger than ever.
What percentage do you think the likelihood of a major disaster occurring in 2025 is? Feel free to leave your opinion in the comments section. Subscribe to the Shadow_Archives channel to watch the latest videos.